First of all, what I'm going to start with, as you know, we did Jeopardy. So I'm going to play a little Jeopardy here with Watson. We'll start with the first question. This term generates over 54 million results on Google. Pretty simple question. It would be why we're here. What is cloud computing? 54 million hits. Everybody's talking about it. The next one, though, is a little tougher. This person was the first to use the term cloud computing in a public forum. It was actually Al Gore. So after he did the internet, he invented cloud computing, I guess. I thought it was Bill Clinton. You know, they're in cahoots. Actually, it was in 1997, and someone actually said Gartner Group. I said, no, Gartner just follows. In fact, the answer to the question, who is Dr. Ramnath Chalapa? He was a professor at the University of Texas in Austin, and he talked about cloud computing at a forum in Dallas, Texas in 1997, and talked about the next wave of computing. And he nailed down which is most of what we see today in definition of cloud computing around the use of resources. So enough of the kind of trivia. When you really look at cloud computing, there's two things that are really happening. One is not only are we rethinking IT, because we're having to deliver these services, we're having to integrate across these environments, we're having to increase efficiency, we're also having to reinvent business. And in fact, I would contend that the reinvention of business is what is driving cloud computing, because a lot of the elements that are in cloud computing, they've been around for a long time. In fact, it's not new computer science. It's applying the set of technologies in a different way to enable faster time to market, to increase the focus on differentiated processes, and processes that go beyond the traditional glass house that we've seen in the past. And there is a managing of expectation here that's really important. The end user is much more technically savvy than they were years ago. Their level of expectation of cloud is different. Just look at the statistic. 55% of business executives believe cloud enable business transformation, leaner and faster and more agile processes. So it is the business that's going to be driving this move because they believe there's value to the business. It's not just about technology. In fact, 43% of businesses think they'll run the majority of their IT environments on the cloud by 2015. Now, we'll wait and see. Because I don't think it's cloud or not cloud. I think what you're going to see, and everyone talks about SaaS or public cloud and private cloud, I'll contend that most environments will be actually hybrid cloud. And they'll be based on the set of processes that you want to run, some that you're going to go to a provider who provides a good process, you know, at the cost point and the scalability that you want. There are going to be other processes that you want in-house. It may be driven by the criticality of the process, your ability to control the process. It may be based on the data and how much data do I want to have outside of my organization. And you go around the world, one thing I've learned, cloud is going to be different in the US than it's going to be in India or China or some of the other countries that are starting to put in controls about where the data needs to reside. They believe they can get speed and flexibility and agility. That's what the business is looking for. That's what the business is driving for. And what's the difference with cloud computing? Well, we all know without cloud computing, you have a lot of silos. We tend to silo around the application. Every single application has to have its own infrastructure, its own middleware, its own hardware, all the way down. And then we're having to manage all these instances, and we know it's inefficient. So when you move to cloud computing, you know what? I'm starting to get control. I'm starting to get more efficiency. And it was driven by this world where, on average, an Intel box is running anywhere from 10 to 20% of its capacity. And we keep putting more computing power on the floor, and that means more computing power that's underutilized. So utilization of resources has really driven a lot of the early adoption of cloud, especially when you start to look at things like virtualization. Well, remember, virtualization has been around for a lot of years. In fact, IBM introduced virtualization in the mainframe in 1967.